Okay, just so everybody knows, this is the second time I'm having to tape this. I keep losing my footage. So, here we go. Pink and Main Crafty Courtyard Subscription Box for May 2020. And the theme is Wear a Smile. So, for this, I hope I'm giving you inspiration for the kit that you may have already received. Again, during the time of our challenge, there are shipping delays, but that's okay. It just makes us want it even more, right? Right. So let's look at the contents first of our kit. Of course, as always, we get our cardstock, and the colors we have here are Stop Sign, Fountain, Brownstone, Pebble, Vineyard, and Farmer's Market. You get some confetti sequins. I'll be changing back and forth with those two words. Some two-tone twine, some tags in all kinds of shapes, some great wood die cuts, some enamel dots in multiple colors, 4 envelopes, this great stencil. It's a great geometric design, and of course your 6x6 paper pad that is also double-sided, and you get 2 6x6 sheets of each. So here I'm showing you for each side of each of the pages that are in there. And it's a total of 24, I think. Yes. Guys, you know me. You also get a die, and that t-shirt die will fit onto the stamp of the t-shirt within your set for your kit. So it's absolutely great. You can see all of those stamps fit inside the t-shirt. You can see the opening there. And of course you also get the Smiley die. There's also a piece of tape inside. It's clear and it simply says hello. It's not easy to tear, by the way. I had to use my scissors. So it was probably me. Okay. And, of course, the awesome bag. I love that bag. And the cute pin. I love my collection. Alright, so, guys, you really need to buckle up here for this card. This is something new. I don't know if anybody else has ever done this before. But you are going to see this card that I'm working on now 2 ways. Yep. Didn't think I could do that. I found a way. Okay, so I used the t-shirt die to cut out the image of the t-shirt. I colored, and I used the Arteza acrylic markers. I am in love with these. I did change the nibs. They come with 2 different sets of nibs, but there will be a video on those later on, but I love them. But I used those to color the wood pieces. So, and they have great colors. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment below the t-shirt, and the sentiment that I chose is looking good. Now I do this twice. When it comes to a larger solid image, I do tend to emboss it twice because I don't get good results right off the bat. If I stamp it twice, it'll be more solid, if that makes sense. Or filled in. I don't have time to take my white gel pen and start drawing in there. So I want it to fill in. So I'm going to use my liquid adhesive, and I'm going to cut a piece of my acetate so that I can set that down. Yes, we're going to make a shaker card. So once I have that set, we start with the double-sided foam tape of 3M. So to me, this is an art because I make sure every section is covered with double-sided foam tape. It's absolutely amazing what I do. So, of course, I will come back to that. So you can see I've got this open space. Now I'm placing the wood pieces inside, and I want them to be in a certain spot. Because I don't want all of the large, hearts to be together. I want them to be sporadic throughout the t-shirt. Then I'm going to come in with the confetti. Now I'm placing the confetti in different areas of the t-shirt. Now when I do a shaker card, I like to put lots and lots of sequin and confetti and whatever you want to call it in there. Because with all of that work that you do, I want a lot of noise and I want a lot of shakers. I'm going to put some glue behind the wooden pieces so that when I place my backdrop, my panel, they're going to stick to that. So they won't move. So they're going to act like those bumpers in a pinball game. I'm going to be doing this for a while because what I'm doing is I'm looking at it and I'm tapping it, and I don't like the fact that the sequins have gone in front of that one heart because, again, it pushed it to the back. So that's the way, one way the card can look. I'm now coming in with a craft knife and I'm cutting away the acetate. Again, we do not throw away our cards. Right? Right. We keep going with what we're trying to build. Is this fine the way that it looks? Absolutely. Again, but it just wasn't the vision of what I had. And what took away from it, for me, was the confetti. Or the sequins. Again, whatever we want to call them. So I'm going to cut away the acetate. I can do that with this image. It's big, it's open, I've got easy lines. Now I just got to deal with all the sequins all over the place. So, I'm going to take this, and here we go. We're going to tap it and get rid of the sequins. There is static cling in these sequins. That's unbelievable. I'm going to dig them out with my craft knife so that they could go away. I'm still finding these sequins everywhere. It's absolutely amazing. But the moment that I was looking at this and I got the sequins out of that area and removed the acetate, that's exactly what I was looking for. I should not have done that. But again, you know, that's the beauty in creating, to have fun. I am going to use some of these confetti pieces and I'm going to put them sporadically throughout this area just to fill in the gaps that I have. But I am making sure I'm using one size of the confetti because I didn't want to take away from those wood pieces. I wanted those to stand out. So this, absolutely, I'm loving that. But let me know which one you like. Did you like it before with the sequins or without? So see, one card, two ways, same card. I'm just saying. I'm sure somebody else has done it. I don't know though, but it's amazing what I did there. But I am a lot happier with this one. Again, I liked the first one. There was just something off. So usually if there's a way for me to be able to change it, of course I'll do that. But I will never start over. I will never throw a card away. The piece that I have from the die, I'm going to put that on the inside on an angle just to fill that in. Or I could have saved it. I have a box filled with all kinds of die cuts, whether I use the paper depending upon the size or not. So for our next card, I'm going to use the stencil. Now, here's another one. So I had a lot of fun with this kit. So I taped my piece of paper down onto my mat, and of course now I'm going to tape down the stencil because I always shift a stencil. I'm going to use two of my Gina K inks. I'm going to use Jelly Bean Green and also Sea Glass, and I'm using my ink blending brushes. I'm going to place this cover or this color all over that panel. I really do like this design. Now, tip while I'm cleaning the brushes. Do not lift your stencil. Keep your stencil on your piece to see if you have the area big enough than the t-shirt. This took me forever. This is why we speed up videos. I'm just saying. Because I needed to add more. Which was good because I needed to have a balance of the blue as well. But yeah, just put your t-shirt, you know, or your image on top of the stencil. You'll see. You can tell where the ink is. Only me, I make it a little bit more difficult. Yes. So I'm going to then, I want to put the t-shirt, of course, on top of that panel. Now, the t-shirt for me has the sentiment already. It's got all of these great phrases, you know, looking good. You're always in my heart. So there's all those sentiments already there. So I grabbed one of my mini wobblers. And I'm going to place that t-shirt right on in the center of all of that inkiness there. And it's just going to be something a little different. Again, nothing, you know, nothing too fancy. But again, that card is still interchangeable. I had a very strong feeling, or the first thing that I thought of when I opened this kit is masculine. But just because you get that feel, it does not mean that you cannot create neutral gender cards. And that's what I'll call these. These are neutral gender. They are for both. You know, again, just by using different colors, just by using different techniques, you can still achieve a gender neutral cards. So this kit is absolutely perfect for that. For the next card, I'm going to use that stencil again, and I'm going to put tape to the back of the t-shirt so that it doesn't move, because I'm just going to tape down the stencil onto the piece of scratch paper here. Now, the reason why I did that is because I'm going to be using white pigment ink, and I did not want to get that all over my craft mat. Oh, the white pigment ink is difficult to clean. At least for me it is. Or I should say, it just takes more time. There you go. It's not difficult. I know how to do that. It just takes more time. So I will use my heat gun just to dry the white pigment ink. Now, note to everybody, I never can get white pigment ink dry. It's amazing. Anyway, so I cut some mats in the solid cardstock, and then I cut some of the pattern paper as well. So I'm able to create layers. When I create layers like this, using the pattern paper, and yes, if I'm not using vintage photo, the solid cardstock breaks up the patterns. A lot of people, I get a lot of questions where people say that pattern paper looked so busy, you know, how can you layer all of that together? And it's by putting the solid colors in between, you can actually still see those pattern papers, which is perfect. It's exactly what you're looking for to do. So because I knew the white pigment didn't dry yet, I figured I'm going to add some white embossing powder to it. I really liked the effect that I got. When I heat set this, there were some areas of the white pigment ink that were dry, some areas that obviously were not. So they kind of gave it a distressed look. You know, the t-shirt that you just love and you can't get rid of. And it's just so soft, but it looks all distressed. And the print on it's wearing off. Yeah, that's that t-shirt right there. At least that's what it reminded me. I mean, come on. We all have that t-shirt. Yes. Yes, we do. I know I do. I'm going to use my double-sided foam squares, and I'm going to prop that up and put that right on top of that pattern paper. Sorry, I had to get something to drink there. I'm going to take this, put this down on my standard A2 size card base, and know that all of my cards are a standard A2 size card base for this video, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and they all are top folding. I'm going to grab one of the sentiments, and I'm going to actually stamp that on the inside. I'm going to use my Simon Says Intense Black, and I'm not looking for it to be a crisp black. I'm okay with that look because it kind of continues that old distressed worn t-shirt look. So I was very pleased with that. And of course that sentiment said, "It's your day. You deserve the royal treatment." I am going to add some enamel dots. Now, yes. So I wanted to add, I liked really the light beige. So I saw the pattern when I tilted my head back. I saw this pattern come to life. So I wanted to make sure that I had an enamel dot at those points. Here's what was making me crazy. There were 6 enamel dots on that t-shirt. I gotta have an odd number. For those of you that have seen my videos before, you know I like odd numbers when it comes to my sequins, my drops, and my embellishments. I could not let that darker enamel dot stay there. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't even do it to put another one on the other side because I still would have had even. So I removed it. For our next card, I focused on the smiley face die. Who doesn't love a smiley face? So I cut that, or I die cut that from many colors of the cardstock. I think I used one each cardstock. I cut this out, and I also kept the pieces that came from it, the eyes and the mouth, and I'm going to use those to fill in the areas that are open. I didn't want to cut more because I thought that would have been overwhelming, but I wanted to use this image to create a pattern paper background for this card. So I'm using my liquid adhesive, and I'm using my wax pencil and my tweezers to glue down the eyes and the mouths, and then of course the smiley faces. Well, it's all smiley faces actually, so that's awesome. They are hanging off the edge, so I will though be cutting those off once everything is glued down onto this panel. I will not only, once I'm done gluing my pieces, the gold one that's down on the bottom right hand corner, I will actually be propping that up using some double-sided foam squares. I did, since that one had all kinds of sparkle and everything else, I did want that to stand out just a little bit. Now it got a little bit tedious because of that area below the mouth. You have to really cut those pieces of double-sided foam tape small. But I did it. Yes, I did. I'm going to place that down, and then I'll adhere the last of the smiley faces across this panel. And I'm just having fun turning them, making sure that they are going off the panel. Again, by doing that, it makes it look like it's an actual pattern paper. Again, if that makes sense. I'm using that piece of checkered paper in the back because the pieces are going off the edge. I didn't want them glued to my craft mat. I've done it before, just saying. So here I'm going to come in with my scissors and trim off the edges. I'm going to place this panel onto my standard A2 size card base, and then I will add some of the enamel dots into the open areas just to fill that in. I did use the "You Are My Sunshine" stamp, and I'm going to stamp that down into the bottom right-hand corner. Again, using my Simon Says Intense Black ink, and again, getting that distress feel. Not looking for that crisp black image for these. Really wasn't feeling it. Kind of funny. And then here I am adding those enamel dots again, just to fill in the areas that are just a little bit more open than others. And that's pretty much our card there. So for this one, and I believe this is our last, I'm actually going to use paper to make a tassel. You know, again, if you don't have threads or you didn't want to use the twine that came in the kit, you can use paper to make your tassel. And there's multiple ways. I'm going to cut another thin strip because what I was going to do was just crisscross it. And again, I love all the papers, but I just didn't want that darkness of what's on the other side of this bright green. So I'm just going to cut another one and then layer it and do the same thing. Just glue those two pieces together. So again, I've just created the tassel that comes off of the tag, and I am using the larger burlap tag. I've cut down some mats and panels from the pattern paper, and I'm going to start layering those. Now, for those of you that have seen my videos before, excuse me, you know I am a huge fan. I'm a little bit obsessed with vintage photo. Now, again, some people like it, some people don't, and that's fine. Obviously, I'm a huge fan, and here's what I use vintage photo for. It separates my pieces when I'm collaging. So if I have a lot of pieces layering together, you can still see them with your eye by putting the vintage photo around the edge. And it doesn't matter what color it is. I will use vintage photo on pink. It works for me. I don't have a problem with that. But by doing that, I can see each of the images. Your eye will absolutely, naturally see them. You're doing the same thing with your pattern papers. A lot of people say, I can't see it. It doesn't, these pattern papers are so busy. And that's true. But just by using something that's solid, one color, can still have texture like the burlap tag. But by putting that between your two pieces of very busy pattern paper, they will be seen. I have the lime green in between the checkered and the houndstooth. I have the burlap tag in between the houndstooth and the plaid on the shirt. But each pattern paper is very much identifiable. Because I use the bigger of the tags for the plaid shirt, that makes it the focal point. Your eyes will actually draw into them. So just because you've got these busy patterns, just pull in some solid paper, and then that will break it away. If you're not a fan of the vintage photo. If you are, just use vintage photo. You can see I have a smudge. What I should have done was stamped the t-shirt in there, and then it would have just been a hole. I would have played that off. So now, I needed to take the spare pieces of paper from the tassel that I created on the tag. I'm going to create a little tiny tag there. I didn't think that looked good like that. Something was missing. I mean, I probably should have drawn something around it or put it up a little bit higher so that another tag could have been around it. There was all kinds of things I could have done. What I decided was to double up my baker's twine and place a bow right underneath it. Again, even though I'm putting that bow there, it's still a gender neutral card. Excuse me. Very much so. Just because there's a bow doesn't mean it's not. And it's on the inside, so I'm hiding it. I do hope you enjoyed these cards, especially the first one. You know, who knew? 2 visions with 1 card, and you ended up with 1 card. It was the same one. I do hope I gave you some inspiration for your kit. And if you're still waiting, I know it'll be coming to you soon. So I do hope you enjoyed the 5 cards, 1 kit series for Pink and Main. Again, this is for May 2020. Wear a Smile. All the links will be down below, and all of the information for the subscription to the Pink and Main, Crafty Courtyard Subscription Box will be down below in the description as well. Now, if you're on your computer, hit that Show More, and if you're on a mobile device, hit that arrow down and it will expand. Have any questions, please leave those down below as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Everybody enjoy, continue to stay safe and healthy, but always remember what's still most important for me. Always be creative.